Her next issue is science, and she asks the question, what makes science possible, right? And she says that, the common stereotype is that religion and science are at war. Right? That's what people commonly believe. But she says that historians have turned that stereotype on its head.
Yeah.
Right? For example, the laws of nature, right? This whole idea of the laws of nature. She says today that idea is so familiar that it strikes us as a common sense. Yet, historians tell us, she mentions, that no other culture, East or West, ancient or modern, came up with the concept of laws of nature. It appeared only in Europe during the Middle Ages, a period when Western culture was thoroughly permeated by Christian assumptions.
Yeah,
right?
about that.
Yeah. So now, and she does make she does mention that, of course, all societies have recognized cause and effect patterns,
sure.
right? But the difference is that they regarded these patterns as merely practical rules of thumb. The intrinsic order of nature itself was thought to be inscrutable to the human mind. And so when people do not think that there are rational laws behind natural phenomena, then why go looking?
Right. Yeah. So if you have this understanding of a transcendent God who orders the universe, that science follows these precepts, these laws that he's put in place, that reason and logic are the way that God thinks, and that morality can be found through a general understanding in general revelation, and then most specifically within the confines of Scripture, you're more likely to go look for it. If you believe that you're driving through Utah and you see sandstone, you might go over with a pickaxe and start looking for dinosaur bones, because you're expecting in that type of environment, in that region, to find dinosaur bones. But if you don't believe that dinosaurs ever existed, you would never go looking for it. The same thing is being made the case here. You're not going to go looking for laws because this comes from this, but that's a cause and effect that people are bringing in.
Right. Yeah. Good. So she gives, again, a couple of examples. So let's just kind of look at one here. Paul Davies, the philosopher, she says that he makes the same point. All the early scientists, like Newton, were religious in one way or another, he writes. They saw their science as a means of uncovering traces of God's handiwork in the universe, right?
Oh, no. They were just explaining away the God of the gaps. That's all they were doing.
Yeah. And so in doing science, they supposed, Davies goes on to say, one might be able to glimpse the mind of God. Right? An exhilarating and audacious claim, she says. But she says a claim that remains a central underpinning for the scientific enterprise right to our day. Science still has to assume that the world has an intelligible order. Right? We have to assume that it's orderly in order to begin to study it, right? Or else, again, why study it? Yet the materialist and naturalist worldview cannot account for that order, right? It comes by chance, not order, but by chance, according to their worldview. So if the universe is the product of non-rational processes, why does it have a rational order? If the universe is not the product of a mind, why is it comprehensible to human minds? Right? Why can we understand it? Right? And so she says, Davies writes, nobody asks where these various underlying principles come from. At least they do not do so in polite company. However, even the most atheistic scientist accepts as an act of faith, he says, that there is a rational basis to physical existence manifests as a law-like order in nature. So science requires this act of faith, right, is the point she's trying to make. So what is that faith based on? Well, Davies says that science can proceed only if the scientist adopts an essential, here it is, theological worldview. Right? So in short, every atheist has to adopt a biblical worldview to pursue all science. Right? And so at war, no.
Right.
They are intricately related to
complementary.
Yeah.
Again, the higher order fulfills the needs of the lower order.
Yeah.
We believe in a God who supersedes creation, but He's created the world, the universe, in such a way that we get to have a relationship with Him with a proper understanding of who He is and the world around Him.
Mm-hmm.
So things like God communing with Adam and telling him, "Don't eat the apple," is a specific revelation. But then the effect from the cause.
I thought it was a pear.
Yeah, berries, berries,
maybe
whatever,
Don't
whatever
eat the
fruit,
berry.
whatever fruit. Yeah, yeah. So you have a God who says that there will be rules, and then from those rules will come certain causes and effects. So we will expect to be able to know those things. And if this universe is just random chance, then why should we expect to know anything or find anything?
Right.
What are we looking for?
And so if we really don't expect to do that based on our worldview, then why would we attempt to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so why do science at all is
Right.
the issue here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We only are motivated to do science because we believe the world is a particular kind of world. And that kind of world concept doesn't come out of the materialistic worldview, right? That is a Christian concept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.